Welcome to Royalty Real's Real podcast. Real conversations, real people, real life. Hey, yo, what's going on, guys? It's your man, Royalty Real here today, and I'm back with another episode of Royalty Real's Real podcast. Today, my guest is Geekdom 101, YouTuber, World of Geekdom, co-host of the K-Fabulous Lucha Brothers podcast. This dude is doing fucking everything, bro. So before we start, let me just say how I was introduced to you back in 2016, actually. So you started doing YouTube in 2015 when the Resurrection of F was launched. So
right before it came out.
Yeah. So when I heard, like, I've been a Dragon Ball fan, since I was little, so. Same. And then so I was watching Super, I was trying to watch it, but I couldn't find it anywhere. That was back when, I didn't know where to go, what streaming sites to go to or whatever. So I'm like, okay, what's the next best thing if I can't watch it? I need to find out somebody who's reviewing it and telling me what's happening. And so I ran into Unreal in gaming first, and his was like, okay, his reviews are cool. And then I actually have been following Quadman a couple years before that, since he started doing YouTube before Super came out. So, right. And then I got linked to your page, and I immediately start switching up. Okay, this dude is giving a play-by-play, and this is awesome, bro. Like, okay, I'm in it. And ever since then, I've been following you. Then I found out you like some of the things that I like, which is hip hop and wrestling and all those other things, bro. So I've been in it ever since. I had mad respect for you ever since then. So one of the first things I want to talk about was
appreciate it.
What was one of your first loves when it came to life, period? Was it hip hop or was it wrestling or what did you?
I would say, yeah, before any of that, I would say it is wrestling, because I didn't discover Dragon Ball until like 94, 95, like the mid 90s. And I discovered wrestling when I was like in like 89. I was a little kid. I mean, I didn't know, like, I was like a little kid, so I didn't know what I was seeing. But it's funny, wrestling came first, and then came Dragon Ball, but then music kind of came along a little bit after that. Like, because you know how it's funny, like when you're a little kid, like between like, let's say like 3 to like middle school, I can't speak for anybody else but me, but I assume other kids are like this. You don't really care that much about like MTV. You're more like Nickelodeon. You're watching cartoons, and then you start to graduate to like, music. And so I didn't even discover hip hop. I mean, I live in Florida in a very Hispanic area, and I went to a predominantly Black and Hispanic high school and middle school. So the culture was there. So it was everywhere. I mean, it was just everywhere. And then, when the internet became a thing, right. That's when you could really dig in. I remember when Napster was around.
Oh, yeah.
That was the good old days. And like then you start to like discover these like underground hip hop acts, not just the commercial. Right. I had a backpacker phase, but long story short, yeah, wrestling was first. And I was actually surprised when you brought up the KLB, because most of the people that follow Geekdom 101 don't even know about the KLB. It's sort of like KLB is like a whole separate thing, because like I've been doing KLB since 2014, and before that I did this little mini series called WrestleMania 30 for 30, and that was like 2013 to 2014, and I don't really talk about that too much on Geekdom 101, and the reason for that's because KLB is very different than a lot of the other stuff I do, because on KLB it's me and my co-host Brandon Draven just we're like being just like complete, like just jackasses all the time, and
unedited, bro. And it's funny, and it's y'all get to be ourselves, and that's why I love it. That's what made me get into you more, actually, was because a lot of these people that do YouTube are just one facet. Okay, I just like Dragon Ball, and that's the only thing that I'm going to talk about. But to see that you like Dragon Ball, you also like wrestling, and you're into the Marvel movies, and you're into
like a lot of stuff,
Star Wars, and like, like this, you grew up like me, like we were absorbed into the media. So it was just like, hell yeah, bro. So a question, what got you into wrestling?
I will tell you exactly what it was. Actually, my earliest memory was I saw a clip of that infamous segment from SummerSlam '88 when Honky Tonk Man called out anybody, and the Ultimate Warrior, he said, "I want to challenge anybody," and Ultimate Warrior came out and squashed them. That's what got me into the business. And my mom would always talk about Hulk Hogan and Macho Man. She would always bring them up, and my dad would always talk about like the guys before, even like Tito Santana and like Gorilla Monsoon. I guess somehow he was watching it, and I'm not really sure how he was watching it, because like I don't think we got that television down here back before I was born. But and then, you know, I started watching it. What's funny about me and wrestling is I know a lot of kids who grew up watching wrestling. You have to ask them, like, when did you know it was scripted or fake or work?
Right. I was actually going to ask that.
Yeah, I always knew, because, and here's why I always knew, because my older brother hated wrestling. So he would come over, right? And I would be watching WWF Superstars, and he'd be like, "Why are you watching that crap? It's all fake. They stomp their feet when they punch." He's like, "If you really do those moves in real life, they'll kill someone." Like, which is true. Like, if you watch a wrestling match, bro, if you do any of those moves in real life, you could kill somebody like
facts,
that,
bro.
Right. And like he taught me about how they stomp their feet when they punch, and, you know, all the little tricks. And but it's weird because what's weird about wrestling, bro, is wrestling is no different. And I say this a lot to people. It's not that different from Dragon Ball or comics. It's basically simple entertainment that you don't always have to overthink. Like for somebody like me, I love reading psychology. I'm a multifaceted person. I love reading you know, stuff of like I love reading about like scientific advances. So I have that side of my personality, but sometimes you don't want to think. Sometimes you get a long day and you want to just sit down, relax. So I'll put on some wrestling, but I just love it, bro. Like I genuinely love it. And Dragon Ball's not that different, bro. You got your baby faces, you got your heels, you got the way Toriyama wrote his story. Perfect. Is very similar to how you would book wrestling, including especially the tournaments. The Tenkaichi Budokais and Dragon Ball are structured like a King of the Ring tournament, like with the stories and the turn. Like he claims he's not a fan, but Japan, especially when he was growing up, was huge for wrestling.
In that culture a lot. Like we
that's what I'm saying. He had to have grown up with like Inoki and Baba and those guys. So like he knew who Vader was, obviously, the people who made who made Dragon Balls, he did. But like they're all pretty similar, you know. And the thing about what you said earlier about how people just cover one thing I've learned is that just because we cover one thing on YouTube does not mean that we don't like other things. The reason as to why a lot of channels do it is because the YouTube algorithm rewards you for focusing on one thing. When I first started my channel back in 2015, it was Dragon Ball, Marvel, and Star Wars. And what happened was the Dragon Ball content took off and the Star Wars and Marvel content didn't. But that's also because I had a lot more competition with the Marvel and Star Wars. And I was a Star Wars fan, but I wasn't one of those kids that read every book and knew everything. That's more like a Dragon Ball thing for me. So there were so many other channels that were doing it better than me. Like I became friends with them too. I'm friends with almost every big Star Wars YouTuber. And what's interesting about that community, bro, is that in Dragon Ball, people will collaborate, because I collab with just about everybody you can think of on YouTube, whereas you don't see that in Star Wars. It's a very different perspective. And I have theories about that. We don't have to talk about that here. That's more like a darker path. But
right.
Basically, when the Dragon Ball content took off, the other content didn't perform as well. And then the algorithm changed in 2017 to where if you uploaded a video that wasn't part of your main topic, it would kill your channel. And it happened to me. And what I did was that's when I came up with my second channel, World of Geekdom, which is where I drop all my thoughts on the other things I like. So, which is not a very like edit. There's no editing, bro. It's just me talking, because it's just a way for me to talk, but also, and this is a strategy that a lot of content creators have to remember. I'm giving away some secrets on this fucking show. Excuse me. Can I curse?
I'm a small time person. So.
Well, can I curse, or I don't curse?
Yeah. It's fine.
Okay, just making sure. World of Geekdom, I talk about like, you know, things that are not Dragon Ball, but it's also a good channel to have as a tax write-off channel, because if you're going to be doing YouTube or Twitch for a living, if your goal is to do these things for a living, you have to understand how your tax system works. Now, obviously, if you live in different countries, it's different, but in the United States, if you're a self-employed entrepreneur, you have tax write-offs. So if I go see Doctor Strange, which I will be going to see, I can write it off on my taxes. If my internet bill, my Disney Plus, all the things that you use to help you with your job. So, right.
I
so
hope you guys are taking notes right now, for real.
No, I mean, a lot of these kids, bro, like, and I don't mean you, I mean like the kids that are starting out, they want to cover, like they want to be YouTubers, and they don't even realize that if you, it's hard work, but also like there's so many benefits to it because of the fact that, like I said, you could take a trip. So let's say you take a trip to, let's just say New York Comic Con. Right. You can write off the entire trip, bro. Dog, I went to Disney World a couple of years ago, 2019, and I took some pictures for Instagram, because the Instagram is the Geekdom Instagram. Boom, that's a business trip. There's all these things you can do that people don't even know they can do. So it's, yes, you got to pay a little bit more taxes because you have self-employment tax, right. But the World of Geekdom exists. So that way I can talk about other things and still be able to write them off. And I still make money on World of Geekdom. It's still a profitable career. It's not Geekdom 101. That's where the real career is. But like, it's like almost like a second business. It's the same business, but you know, it's almost like one, but it's the same right. one. I don't know if that makes sense.
I totally get it. So what I wanted to go to, since we talked about the wrestling for a little bit more, who is your favorite wrestler of all time?
Bret Hart.
Bret the Hitman Hart.
Okay. That's my favorite.
I got into wrestling probably a little bit later than you, because I got in probably like mid 90s, and then I fell off for a while because it just wasn't prevalent in my house. I was the only one watching it, and I didn't have my own TV in my room for a while in the 90s. So it was just like I had to watch what my parents were watching. So if I was watching, you know, I had to catch it, you know, Saturday morning early by myself. So I stopped watching for a few years, and then I came in the height of the Monday Night Wars. Because
that's when everybody came in. Yeah. That's when everybody was watching. I've actually been rewatching a lot of that stuff lately, just for my own entertainment, and also now as an older man, I like studying like what they did, what worked and what didn't work. And yeah, no, that was the hottest period ever. That's never going to happen again. Like we will never see that happen.
A lot of people are trying to compare what's happening with AEW with and WWE was happened back in the day, and I'm just like, no, bro, like it's great. AEW is great for what it is. Right. It's great, but no, bro, like this is real competition. Like,
right.
They could have took each other out at any time, bro. Like,
right. And not to mention that there's a lot of differences in just how we consume content now. It's not even so much, yeah, the product is different. That's all true. But we as human beings consume content completely different. You mentioned a minute ago that you had to watch what your parents were watching. Well, guess what? Nowadays, you can watch anything you want on this, anything you want on this. You have a portable computer. People say, oh, it's a cell phone. No, this is a portable computer, bro. Right. And so because of that, you can watch whatever you want. All you gotta do is get the right app. And so, you know, we consume content differently. And also the numbers that WWE and AEW don't compare to what they did back then. It's just like, because more people were watching TV back then as compared to now live sports still does well, like basketball, football, they're doing great, like no argument there. But wrestling, I think WWE has really kind of pissed away its audience, and I think a lot of them either moved on. I'm talking about the one from back then. They moved on to UFC, or they moved on to NFL or whatever. I like all that stuff, bro. Like I'm into like MMA. I'm into like K1. I mean, I like boxing, anything that's like a combat sport I'm into, because I like the idea of one-on-one. As much as I love, you know, basketball, if you're fighting, you know, in a UFC or in a cage, it's you and him, right? You and your opponent, and your coaches, no teammates. So if you lose or you win, it's depending on your skills versus his. So exactly. I love that. I've always liked that.
Yeah, and if you lose, it's your fault pretty much. So you can't blame
Like
nobody
Dragon
else.
Ball.
Right, right. So let's dive into Dragon Ball. I have a question. So what came first for you in your life, hip hop or Dragon Ball? Because I know you were introduced to Dragon Ball very young too, before a lot of us were introduced to it.
Well, it's funny because technically it would be Dragon Ball. Okay, so like here's how the hip hop thing happened. So the first hip hop video I ever saw was from Onyx called Slam. Remember that song?
Slam. Let the boys be boys.
Let the
Yeah.
boys be boys. I love Onyx. And that was back during I was watching Beavis and Butthead in the mid 90s, and they were like making fun of it. And that would have been around 94, but I also discovered Dragon Ball in 94. Now, here's the difference.
Bro.
No, it's weird. 94 is the year that Bret Hart won WrestleMania 10. It's like 90, and not to mention 94 is the year that Pulp Fiction and Shawshank Redemption came out, my two favorite movies of all time. So 94, and my favorite Disney movie is The Lion King, 94. 94 is like a pivotal year in my life, bro. Like, I don't know why. It's like almost like a nexus event in my nerddom. You know what I mean? But I didn't get into hip hop right away. I just liked that song. I liked some of the stuff back then, like Snoop and the Dre, but I would only watch it on TV. I never listened to any CDs or radio or any of that stuff. Dragon Ball, I discovered in a magazine advertising a game. I did a video on YouTube. It's called Super. They called this Super Futoden, but it was Butoden. And they showed this character with the spiky yellow hair, which was Goku, but I didn't know that back then. And then I started watching Dragon Ball, the anime, when it was on syndication in 95. That was
not
early.
Not to cut you off, but so when you first saw the Goku picture in the magazine, had you already played the Sonic games, or did you make that comparison back then?
I did play Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, and I knew about Super Sonic, but I didn't know that Goku's spiky hair was a transformation. I had only seen him with that hair, so I thought that was just his regular hair color, and then, because what happened was I used to love like treasure hunting shows. There was a cartoon back in the day called The Pirates of Dark Water. It was a really good cartoon, but it never finished. Like it got up to a certain number of episodes. We never got the finale. So it was about these pirates that had to go and find these magic like jewels. So Dragon Ball comes out. You got to find the 7 Dragon Balls. I'm like, make a wish. That I was in. But to go back for a minute, when I was reading that magazine article showing Goku, Super Saiyan Goku, with doing the Kamehameha, my first thought was, damn, that looks a lot like the Hadouken. Because, dude, if you were around the 90s, Street Fighter was everywhere, bro. That was like the #1 arcade game. From like 92 to like 96, it was all Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo. So I associated the hand movement as Hadouken, even though it was the Kamehameha, which came out way before Street Fighter. I didn't know that back then.
My wife and I were just talking about the Street Fighter craze back in the 90s, how we both were, anywhere we went. I mean, it was nationwide, bro. We grew up in California. You get on there and show your skills with somebody, and it was an honor to put your initials up there, saying that you got to a certain level before somebody else, and
dude, I those games were. I love Capcom to this day, bro. Capcom, even though Capcom kind of sucks as a company now, they've given me so many great memories, whether it be Street Fighter, Mega Man, Resident Evil. You know what I mean? Like, and same thing with all these like Konami, Nintendo. Yeah, they can be dicks sometimes, but they have provided so much entertainment for me my whole life, bro. It's like I kind of have a soft spot for them, if that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying? Like they've done so much for me. Same thing with like even like WWE. Like Vince McMahon is way past his prime as a creative guy, but he's entertained me so much. It's like I can, I mean, I'm not saying I like the product because it's kind of trash most of the time, but I have a soft spot for it because of the fact that we had that equity built up since we were kids.
I think that's why WWE will never lose a part of its fan base, because it's part of us as people. We grew up with these things in our life, so it's kind of hard to separate. Like you never just shit on the product totally, because
I mean, think about it right now. If you look at the demographics, the most of people watching Raw are in their 50s. Now, That's interesting because the raw audience skews older. That tells me that those were the same people that were watching during Hulkamania, during the Austin phase. Those people are lifelong fans. Those are the people. So we might end up being like them, where we're watching when we're in our 50s. I mean, I don't know, but you know what I mean? The young people now aren't really into it like we were. They have other things. They have, there's more video games now. You've got Steam, you've got YouTube, you got Twitch. There's so many more distractions now that watching wrestling is just not gonna ever be like how it was back then.
No, not at all. So once you found out about Dragon Ball in the magazine, did you start seeking out tapes or a way to watch it immediately, or was it something else?
Not right away. I watched the 95, the original 95 Kid Mark dub on syndication. And before Dragon Ball, I had a fascination with Japanese things. Like, for example, I love Godzilla growing up. I watched this show. They had an Ultraman show that was on Sunday mornings, like 5:30 in the morning. I loved, I didn't know they were from Japan, but obviously I love Sonic and Mario, like all these Japanese things. Japan, and I loved anime. See, the thing that people don't know is, bro, and well, you might know this, but we've always had anime. Right. It just wasn't called anime. Speed Racer's anime, bro, but nobody called it that back then. It was just a cartoon.
Right. We called it, I grew up in the era where we called it Japanimation, you know.
Me too. Me too. But I mean, even before our era, like Speed Racer was before you and I were even born.
Right.
And that was anime. So when I was a kid, and I mean a little kid, I used to watch Nick Jr. And they had a show on there called The Little Bits. And they had a show called Maya the Bee. And they had a show called The Noozles. All three of them shits is anime, bro. And I didn't know it when I was a kid. Because what they would do is, and same thing with Grimm's Fairy Tales, they would take anime, and then Saban, who also did the same thing for Power Rangers and Dragon Ball Z, would Americanize it, dub it, edit it, take out all the stuff that we can't see here, you know, and they would just be an American cartoon, but we didn't know. So long story short, I'm trailing off here. What I meant to tell you was I didn't start collecting tapes until I got to early high school, because that's when I discovered that there were other people, because that's when it went to Toonami. Right. And we were watching it on Toonami, and then there were other people who had tapes of stuff that happened later on, like Majin Buu, Gogeta, Cell. For a long time, all we had was the first half of the Frieza saga and the Saiyan saga, and that's it. Then you start going on the internet and you start reading up on it. So I read the entire plot synopsis for Dragon Ball Z online before I even watched it. Yeah, you know, too. And right. And then you download pictures of, like, you remember the JPEGs of like Janemba.
Bro, I swear to God, I had those shits around my fucking room, bro. Like, I had Super Saiyan 4 posters and shit around my.
Didn't even know the context.
No, I did not understand. It's just, that's Goku, bro. What did he do? I don't know. Right. It looks cool to me.
Yeah, and I remember there was a kid in 9th grade. So in 9th grade, I had this video productions class, and this is some of the coolest teachers. She was a cool teacher. So the dude they teach the class, before I got there, he got busted. And honestly, bro, I feel like every high school has this. The teacher that taught video productions before I got to high school got busted on some child pornography shit, and he got suspended, expelled. So they brought in this lady to be the teacher. She was fucking cool, bro. We used to watch in video productions. We used to watch Dragon Ball, wrestling, football games. She would let us do whatever the fuck we wanted as long as we got our work done. And you have to remember, it's video production, so there's VCRs, like they're all over the place. So you could have we would crowd around and watch like the Austin 316 tapes and all that. And I remember there was one kid named Javier, and he had Goku versus Frieza, Dragon Ball Z episodes 94 to 96, which is the Super Saiyan transformation. So he showed it to us, and then he showed us the Lord Slug movie and other things like that. He had a bunch of them, and I was like, I need this. And it just became this weird obsession. I met this kid from Honduras, right? There's a lot of, if I tell you the whole story, bro, it'll be like 3 hours. It's actually a cool story though. Because like when you start people don't understand, but when you start discovering Dragon Ball back then when it wasn't available here, it's like finding like treasure, bro. And like this kid from Honduras had this magazine that was only available in Mexico that had like pictures from like all of Dragon Ball and Z. So I was watching like Imperfect Cell versus Vegeta, not even knowing what the hell was going on. And
No
he
context.
would talk to me about it. No, I mean, dude, I read it in Spanish, but like, you know, like still, like I didn't actually see the video of it. Then you start trading tapes. And I remember one day I drove with my dad. It's in 9th grade. I drove with my dad all the way across town and we found this video game store. And the video game store had some Dragon Ball Z tapes, English ones, but then there was one tape that it was a white case and it had a picture of Future Trunks on it. I was like, what is this? So I rented it, took it home. It's the tape said Dragon Ball Z movies 5 and 6. Put it in. My first time ever seeing Chala Head Chala, my first time ever hearing Nozawa's voice, except for when my friend showed it to me. And it was the 2 Cooler movies. And that was it. At that point, I had already converted over to watch it in Japanese, not because I hated the dub, even because that would come later, but because I needed to see the rest of the show. Like if they had dubbed the entire show, we would have never seen it in Japanese. We were just seeing it in English. But because they took so long, us being kids, we weren't little kids. We were smart kids. The internet, I had to see it. And so it became like this lifelong quest to get every Dragon Ball
episode. You didn't want to wait.
Yeah,
you didn't want to wait, especially if you knew that it was continuing on. Like, why wait?
Bro, but I mean, so I started collecting, right? And I had got my hands on Trunks killing Frieza. I got my hands on Cell and Gohan's fight and trading with other kids. I got 2 of the Broly movies, like a lot of different things. Like we're just trading tapes, you know what I mean? And wrestling too. And what happened was when the internet started to blow up, right? So there's something that happened in 2000 called high-speed internet, which is funny because kids nowadays, all we have is high speed. Back then we had dial-up and high speed.
Oh yeah, bro.
It was called Roadrunner. So I got Roadrunner installed in my house, right? I was like, okay, this is great. Got on this program called IRC and I downloaded these Dragon Ball episodes that had aired on a station in Hawaii called Nippon Golden Network. This is like shit that only if you were around back then would you know about. Yeah. But I had every Dragon Ball episode and the first 100 Z episodes, and I was able to watch everything. The quality was not great. It was crappy VHS, blurry, you know, shaky stuff, but I didn't care. And I got to see it all. So, and then, you know, you keep collecting, you know, and then when the Dragon boxes came out in Japan, motherfuckers put them online and we downloaded them and it just goes on from there. It was like an obsession, bro, to get this show, you know?
When did you know like that you had this extensive knowledge of Dragon Ball and that you could start making a career out of it? Because was that a thought before you started YouTube? Or
not even close, bro? No, I never viewed myself. See, one of the things that pissed me off, and it does actually piss me off, is when people say shit like he thinks he's God's gift to Dragon Ball, he thinks he knows everything. I've never once said that. If you find me, motherfucker, if you find me a single time where I said I knew everything, I'll fucking PayPal you $1,000 now. I ain't never said that shit. But what happens is people on the internet have small dicks, and so they create their own reality, and they basically create this fantasy that I said that because other people said that about me. When I started doing Geekdom 101, other people were saying, damn, this guy's very knowledgeable. I never said it. I was just, other people were saying it. So it wasn't a thing where like, I knew I had all this knowledge. That was never happened. I started the YouTube channel. Honestly, bro, I started that channel to find other creators to recruit for my website at the time. I had a website at the time and I wanted to find other creators. And then I ran into a couple of people that I had issues with because they were unethical. And then I thought to myself, and I was like, you know what? I should just do this my own damn self. So I started making little videos for fun, just for fun, bro. I had no aspiration to do this a career. I mean, I genuinely didn't. And I started doing it for fun, and I started having fun. And so then I started setting goals, and I was like, okay, I want to get to 10,000 subs by the end of 2015. That was my goal. I got to 43,000. I was like, holy shit, I overcame my goals. And then what happened was I was working for Verizon at the time. I got fired from my job. I came home. I told my then girl, I said, listen, I'm going to try doing YouTube full time. If within 6 months, I cannot make this into a income earning career, I will go back to IT, because I was done with IT. I had been an IT engineer for 10 years, and I had gotten fucked over by corporate America over and over. I hate corporate America, bro. I can't live in the corporate environment. I'm not a 9-to-5 type of guy. That's not
what was it about the corporate world that didn't sit right with you?
I don't like corporate America. There's a lot of backstabbing. There's a lot of, it's same thing I told you about before we start recording. A lot of people who befriend you and they snake you. A lot of people who, it's always like a cat and mouse game. They'll do whatever. And then I also got tired of management treating employees like shit. One of the problems with IT, and this is something that's still going on to this day, is that if you work in IT, a lot of people who get promoted into management get promoted based on their knowledge, not their people skills. So they have all this knowledge, but they can't deal with people. So they treat you like shit. And I was never the type of guy who was like, I want to work here because I have to. I was always the kind of guy who was like, I'm a good interviewer. I recognize my skills. I'm out. I've always been that kind of guy, always. And I'm very proud of myself. That's one thing I am proud of about myself, is that I have balls. And that's the truth. And so I just got tired of it. And I got tired of like, I was never the kind of, I don't like hourly work. Like, I don't like hourly work because a lot of times you're just sitting there and waiting for something to happen. And it's a wait. I don't like wasting time. Right. I like to get my shit done. So when it comes to even now with Geekdom 101, let's say I got a video I got to do. I will stay up till 6 a.m. doing it. It's done. And now I go to bed. And you know what I mean? Like I'm one of those guys that likes to, I'm more, and everyone's different, but I'm more of a results-based person. This is what they say in the business world. I'm more of a results-based person as opposed to a 9-to-5 hourly person. You know what I mean? I work better as a contractor. My favorite jobs I've ever had in my life were YouTube, and I worked as a field network engineer contractor where I was driving around the county installing internet in people's homes. And I love that job because I was free. I was in my car. I could eat wherever I wanted to. This whole thing of like, well, you have to go to a 15-minute break and a 30-minute lunch.
I hate it.
No. I hate it, bro. Like, and here I would rather, I'm the type of dude, bro, that I will work the full 8-hour shift without taking a break if I'm enjoying what I'm doing, if I love my job. But a lot of people, when they get caught up in that corporate world, they're living that, you know, I got to get to work, and they're drinking their coffee and driving an hour. It just wasn't for me, bro. It never was.
Don't get me started. I think that's the capitalist society as a whole. That's the goal, you know, go to work, go home, go to work, go home. And then before you realize that you're 80 years old and you did this your whole life. And what do you have to say did you enjoy your life really? Because you
know, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned capitalism. YouTube and Twitch are the easiest form of capitalism that's ever been invented, because right now anybody can open up a channel and start producing content and eventually do it for a living, whether it takes you 6 weeks, 6 months, or 6 years. It can be done. It can be done. And we didn't have these opportunities when we were kids because YouTube didn't exist. Now that it's around, I see kids blowing up every day. So it is the easiest form of capitalism ever, which is why so many people want to do it, but they don't understand how hard it is too. You know what I mean?
I see a lot of people, especially from our generation and up, like, you know, shitting on the youngsters. And I'm like, dude, get your money. Like, because this is an opportunity that we didn't have. You know, we had to hope to you know, go to college, get this degree, and hopefully we like what the fuck we do. Or,
well, it's funny because one of the things that I would hear a lot when I started, like maybe the middle of my career on YouTube, I would have motherfuckers say shit like, and these are all haters. They would say shit like, oh, I can make that video better than him. Then do it. Go do it. Listen. And I would tell my bit, listen, homie, I make more money than you and your fucking parents combined. If you really can do my job better than me, then I want you to go ahead and do it.
Right.
Because if you really are that confident that you can do my job better than me, then why wouldn't you want to do it to make fucking the kind of money I make? And I would, and then they have nothing to say, because if you say, no, I don't want to, then that means that you are just talking shit about someone else's content,
Exactly.
saying you can do a better job, and you have no drive, and you don't have the balls to fucking do it. And so, like, you know what I mean? Like, people talk a lot of shit. One thing I learned about this internet clout, whatever you want, it's bullshit. Like, I'm not a celebrity. People think I am. Being who I am is that a lot of people talk a lot of shit about YouTubers. And I don't mean just me. People you mentioned earlier, like Quaman, R.E.A.L, we all have people that talk shit about us. Game Facts hates me and Rhyme Style. They fucking, I've never been on that board interacting with any of them, but they hate us, bro, with a fucking passion when we've done nothing to them, bro. People are very toxic online, bro. And but I understand the thing is,
I understand having the spirit. I understand having the spirit of competition, but being a hater is
okay. But compete,
yeah, compete.
Right?
Don't be a hater, bro. Like,
exactly. Instead of fucking talking shit, if you want to compete, then fucking compete. And I've every time I say it to somebody, they can never compete. Whereas the real motherfuckers on YouTube, they already have their shit going. They've already got their ideas. They've already, like, I've got friends of mine, like, for example, Carthu's Dojo. Carthu used to email me in 2016, like, I didn't even know who he was, like, email me, asking me questions, and now he's got a successful YouTube channel. He just bought a fucking house in Atlanta. Like, that's amazing, to be celebrated. But like, these toxic people on the internet, right? It's all fucking jealousy and envy. Dog, if one of my homies buys a fucking house in the real world, that's fucking worth celebrating. That's a real fucking accomplishment. That's actual, like that's what the real fucking ballers do. Like, fucking buying a fucking house off of talking about Dragon Ball. We couldn't do this shit 20 years ago. Our parents couldn't do this. So it's like, that should be celebrated. So if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a winner, if you're a success, you're going to celebrate anybody who makes it, especially if they have a story. If they were broke, because I was homeless once, stuff like that. Whereas if you're a fucking toxic douchebag who's always negative, who hates his fucking life, hates himself, all you're going to do is just talk the shit. Whereas if you're a fucking baller, you're going to fucking go out there and do it, because you don't have to talk the shit, because your work will speak for you, if that makes sense. That's why I always respect people that either are trying to make it or who have made it, as opposed to those who talk, because talking accomplishes nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. I think it's people hate us, period, though. I grew up with people like that. If somebody see somebody doing better than them, they just want to hate. But for me, like, any of my friends that are doing better than me, bro, is fucking, I'm proud of you, bro. Like, fucking do your shit, bro. Like, I'm not going to ask you for shit. Like, bro, I'm happy for you. You got a house? That's perfect. You got a new car? That's perfect. Like, I'm happy, bro. I celebrated with you, bro. Like, that's just, I don't got the hate in me to shit on somebody else because I don't have it, bro. Because honestly, I feel like there's a time when I will get it. Eventually my time will come, you know, and if it doesn't, then
exactly. And plus, you seem like somebody who isn't like toxic. Whereas when I say toxic, because that word gets thrown around a lot, I mean people who have actual like mental illnesses, or they have these hate boners that make no sense. One of my friends, Roberto Blake, who's a YouTuber, he's a creative entrepreneur. This dude makes a lot of money, bro. He makes a lot. He's a very intelligent man. And we talk all the time on the phone, and he says, he's like, anybody who hates you, who hates you, who has never met you, and you've done nothing directly to them, their hatred is based on jealousy and envy, because it doesn't make any sense. Why would you hate somebody you don't know? Why would you hate someone that you've never met?
Right.
Why would you hate someone that's making videos about cartoons? Like, it doesn't make any logical sense. I don't hate people I don't know because I don't know them. It's because that's not really hate. What it is it's self-hate. They hate themselves because they're not where you're at. And that's a proven fact. I've had 3 different psychologists, PhDs tell me that. So am I going to listen to a psychologist or some dumbass 14-year-old on Twitter? See what I'm saying? And so what I'm trying to say is that person who you mentioned before we started recording is completely enveloped in that envy, bro. Same thing with anybody who talks shit about creators. All these motherfuckers on these websites, like, you're never going to catch me ever shit talking a creator, bro. Like, when I first started, I had gotten into a couple of issues with other creators that have been resolved. But a lot of that was misunderstandings and being gassed up by others, which is a real thing you got to watch out for.
Oh yeah.
Instigation and whatnot. Yeah. But I'm never going to like trash on someone, especially if I don't know them. If you've done something directly to me, then I have a right to dislike you. But if you've never done anything except make content, why would I hate you? I mean, even if you're a clickbaiter and a liar, like, I'm so past that shit, bro, because it doesn't matter. I used to care about that stuff years ago, but I don't care anymore because it doesn't matter.
Right. So another thing I wanted to dive into was the icons of the Dragon Ball community, which is a video series that you've done that I love.
It's been a while.
I love every single one of those. And then you started to include people that were YouTubing into that, like Quaman, R.E.A.L.
I did Rhyme Style. I did a few people, yeah.
So they've been doing YouTube for a long time, but I feel like, when is your turn to be on there now? Because now you become a staple of that community, hosting shows, and you talk to all of our childhood heroes and interview them and everything. So do you think that it's time for you to get the icon of the Dragon Ball community?
Well, are you saying I want to interview myself? I mean, I don't know how that's gonna work.
Maybe have somebody else do it and put it up, because I feel like that. I feel like it's time, honestly, for me, because you've been doing this for so long and you've skyrocketed past a lot of different people. And the fact that you're able to just talk to Sean Schimmel like you are, or, you built friendships within that community.
Absolutely. So. Well, I feel like I don't mind, like, we're kind of doing that now. Like, I don't mind doing like podcasts or interviews. I've done interviews, stuff like that, for other people. But if I were to upload an interview on my channel that I did about me,
hold on, bro, we're freezing.
Egotistical. Even talk about these kinds of things on streams and stuff like that. Like, people can ask me questions. Like, that's more for like me, you know what I mean? Because having somebody else interview me, like, the whole point of icons originally, it was like to highlight content creators. But when I started getting real people, like people who did voices, it became like the interview show. Because truth be told, whether somebody is an icon or not is kind of up to you, because not everybody views these people as icons. True. But it became like a thing where I interview other people, and I'm very proud of that series. We haven't done one in a while because the sad truth is that these long form interviews are usually bad for the algorithm. However, I am working on some new ones this year, depending on when Dragon Ball Superhero comes out in America. I do have 3 big ones planned for this year revolving around superhero. So, yeah, I got some big ones. I'm not gonna
ask you to spoil it or anything, but that's awesome. I'm looking forward to watching those.
Well, no. One. I mean, I'll tell you who I want to get. I haven't actually got confirmation. Okay. This is what I want to do. I want to get Elise Bowman, who's the voice of Pan. I want to get Kyle Bear, the voice of Gohan, and I want to get Sean back. So I got the grandpa, the dad, and the granddaughter. You know what I mean? Like the 3 generations. I want to do them like back-to-back weeks, but I don't know if I'll be able to pull that off because like Sean, I think will do it, because there's actually a lot of questions I haven't asked Sean yet. And let me tell you, the interviews I have on my channel with Sean are literally among the best I've ever done. And they're also the best interviews Sean's ever done. I've watched every single Sean Schimmel interview. Mine is the only one where he talks about his childhood, his dad, his mom, going to Texas, becoming a musician, voicing Goku. He addresses Team 4-Star, which is something that was really controversial for many years. And I told him before we started recording, I said, listen, bro, I'm not going to go into your personal life, but I'm going to ask you these fucking hard questions. I'm going to ask, I'm not a pussy, bro. So when I interviewed Sabbath, I straight up asked him, I was like, why is the Z-Dub so bad compared to Kai? Like, I straight up, because I'm not afraid of these people. Like, people always tell me some shit. Like, I had a kid ask me once, he goes, don't you ever get nervous interviewing these people? And it's like, no, because I view them as just being people. They're not, I mean, they're talented, but they're just people. And I really don't fanboy over anyone. Like, that's not true. I guess if I met Stone Cold Steve Austin, or like, I mean, I did meet Ric Flair, but if I met, like, I have never met Bret Hart, so maybe I would kind of fanboy over them a little bit, but I don't fanboy over voice actors, bro, because they're just people like us, and they have flaws and they have imperfections, and you just gotta treat them like people. You know?
Yeah, I've always been that way when it comes to famous people. Like, I've actually been in the presence of some people where I didn't even go up and ask for an autograph because I felt like it was, I don't want to bug you. Like, how would I feel if somebody came up to me while I was eating and and asked me an autograph or got me out of character? Like, bro, you're a person at the end of the day, and you get that bad reaction from somebody because they're a person, you know, so they don't have to engage with you when they're doing something that with their family or something like that. So I've never been that type either. Right. Just a person. Like, I've seen, I grew up in LA, so
I've never really been into autograph stuff that much, unless I'm gonna have them sign like something that I own. But I've never been the type to like collect autographs. It's just never really been my thing. I prefer pictures, honestly. You know what I mean? Because that's more like, hey, I took a picture with this person. But the thing is, they're all people, bro, and they all have their flaws and they all have their imperfections, and some of their flaws are obvious and some aren't. You know, it just comes down to the person. And when I first started talking to Sean Schemmel, we didn't even talk about Dragon Ball. We talked about music. And so like, when you talk about, because you think about it, like, if you're Sean Schemmel, you are getting questions about Goku literally every day for the past 20 years. Somebody asks you about music, which is your first love. It's like, hey, this person's not a mark. That's really what it comes down to. You know what I mean? Like, it just, you kind of go to what they like as opposed to what you want to hear.
Right.
But I did ask him about I asked him about Peter Kalamis. I asked him about Team 4-Star, all these things that people were too scared to ask him. I was like, fuck it, because I'm not afraid, bro.
Bro, that interview was amazing. That whole,
I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, like, and it was just, it flowed, and you could tell he felt comfortable, which is the most important thing when you're talking to someone, is comfortability. You don't want to ask the racy question and knock them off, you know, whatever, because that's, you don't get a genuine person that way. So talk to them about them.
Right. No, man, I was very, I'm very proud. One of the things I am proud of, and this is not ego, this is me being proud, is I think in the Dragon Ball fandom, I have the absolute best interviews of anybody. Like, nobody can fuck with me. Not Kanzenshu, not IGN. Nobody can fuck with me when it comes to interviews, because I get them for a longer time. I ask deeper questions. And whenever I do panels with actors, I ask them the best questions. I know that because I ask them questions that other people don't ask them. You know what I mean? Right. And there's a right and a wrong way to do it. And I'm super proud of my interview skills. And I think I picked up on being a good interview probably from listening to a lot of like pro wrestling, and like, you know, like wrestling and hip hop have helped me become a better creator, bro. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? The promos, the way they talk. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I guess growing up with Ric Flair kind of helps a little bit. I don't know.
One of the best talkers in the business.
You know, YouTube is like, because think about it. YouTube, wrestling, and hip hop are like the same shit almost. We got characters. We have nicknames. Geekdom 101's not my real name. Just like, you know, fucking The Undertaker is not Mark Calloway's real name. Right. We got gimmicks. We have our own little like fan groups. We like merchandise. It's and hip hop artists, like, Jay-Z's real name is Sean. It's the same thing. Like it's basically entertainment. Like it's just a different, it's very, and we have feuds. We feud with each other sometimes. Like it's very similar.
I actually never thought about it that way though, for real. People cut promos on people. Seriously.
Right. Yeah. The only difference is that we don't have worked fights. Not yet anyways. Maybe someday.
Well, I mean, you got Logan Paul and people like that, and KSI, people like actually getting into the ring and doing it. So
now Logan Paul's doing WWE.
I know, right? He actually watching WrestleMania, he did much better than I thought he would.
He was, bro, based on all the celebrities they've ever gotten, he's got to be top 5 as far as how good he was in the ring.
It's crazy the fact that he looked better than Ronda Rousey.
Amen, bro. That's creepy because I said that on Twitter, bro. On Twitter, I said Logan Paul has only wrestled 2 matches and he's already more natural in the ring than Ronda Rousey. I said the same thing almost word for word. It's true. Same thing with even Johnny Knoxville.
Right, he looked better too. Like Ronda, I don't think she's cut out for it, but that's a whole nother thing.
I think Ronda, she needs to be a heel. She's very bad at being a babyface, bro. She needs to go heel. She's better at being a heel because in real life, her personality fits that mold more.
Oh yeah, definitely. So another question I had, I hope I'm not running too long for you.
If I don't care, bro. Like I told you, I'm wired on coffee. I ain't going to bed I'm not going to bed till 9 a.m. probably.
So I want to go back to your mindset. 2017, we find out that Super is ending, and on your YouTube, you exuded a lot of confidence, because you knew that your knowledge of Dragon Ball was so extensive. But was there a point where you had any doubts during that time where it's just like, shit, I have to keep pumping out content, and there's no show to cover weekly anymore?
That was absolutely a fear of mine for sure. That no argument there. When Dragon Ball Super was ending, I was a little bit worried. I mean, we had the movie coming up and the manga was still ongoing, and then Heroes was coming in, but I was absolutely fucking thinking, oh shit, oh my God, is this the end of my channel? And so what I did was I had an entire backlog of topics. I have literally anywhere between 200 to 300 topics that I haven't even touched on yet involving Dragon Ball. I've got a whole list of them, right? And I said, okay, now is the time to dig into some of this stuff that I've wanted to talk about, but I couldn't because Super took priority. And the thing is, it's funny because a lot of the haters were talking shit about not me, but I mean, I was included, but the YouTubers Dragon Ball's ending. Those guys are going to have to get a real job. I'll never forget, motherfucker. I love it. Motherfuckers were telling me in 2017, you're going to have to get a real job now. Really, motherfucker? It's been fucking 3-4 years and I'm still doing this 6 figures still, bro. Eat a dick. These people, bro, they think they get to you and they don't get shit. And the thing is, but the truth is I was worried, but also I was anticipating a drop in viewership. I knew that when Super ended and when the movie was over, that the viewership for Dragon Ball and the interest was going to drop. I'm not stupid, bro. I'm a businessman. I knew that was going to happen. So what I had to do was I had to adjust some things. I had to think about taking different kinds of sponsorships. I had to think about when to put out videos more. I made some adjustments to where I was able to keep the business going. I used to upload 8 videos a week. I had to cut it down to 3 to 5, which, believe it or not, even with 3 to 5, I'm still doing pretty good. And the one thing that I did do during that time that I had, it wasn't really something that I planned, but it kind of all fell into place, is I bought a house because I told myself, I said, okay, if I do have to go back to IT, if worst case scenario, I have to go back, at least I have a paid off house because my house is paid. At least that's done. So I won't have to worry about paying rent. All I got to pay is electric and internet and cell phone. That's it. So that was my goal. But no, I was definitely concerned about the channel not surviving. But what I didn't expect is that so many people would drop off. Like a lot of the channels just vanished. And then what happened was a lot of them switched over to doing what ifs and fan manga. What ifs and fan manga own fucking YouTube right now. And it's funny because I would already be at 1 million if I was covering those things, but I'm not really a big fan of fan manga, and I'm not really a big fan of what ifs. I just don't like that kind of content. I just don't like making it. I'm not good at it. I prefer informational videos and
Do you watch any of those stuff. Any of those on what if channels or anything like that other than Masako?
I don't even watch Masako. Like I don't watch other Dragon Ball content creators very often. Not because I dislike them, because Masako is my friend. I don't watch it because I've covered Dragon Ball for so long and I do it myself that it's like, it's too much. You know what I mean? It's too much. Right. I just want to what I watch on YouTube is I watch a lot of stuff about health. I watch wrestling stuff. I watch retro gaming stuff. Things like that. I like that stuff. That's what I prefer to watch on YouTube. I don't really like watching other Dragon Ball content creators. Now, I have seen some of their stuff. I'm not saying that I just don't watch anything, but I don't really like those kinds of what ifs because it's basically glorified fan fiction. In my opinion, the best what ifs were Kwame and Laughing Stock Media. They made the best ones because they actually made it like mathematical.
Oh, yeah. They went into the mind of Toriyama, like this is an actual possibility if we're writing this. Yeah, so I like that. A lot of people go way off the deep end, and it's just like this is not even the character. I'm sorry, I'm not like dissing them. It's just like this is not something the character would do. If you're gonna do a character-based story, then they have look what would Goku actually do in this situation, or what would Gohan actually do in this situation. So if you're gonna write from that perspective, then that's what makes it interesting to me. It's just like this. It's not realistic, you know, other ways. Goku turns evil for no reason at all. Okay. That's not entertaining to me.
Yeah, and it's just not like, and again, I'm not knocking anybody who likes it. It's just I personally don't watch that kind of stuff. Like I just make my videos, and once in a while I'll watch a video from someone else, but I don't watch Dragon Ball content on YouTube. Once in a while I will just take a view to see what people are watching. But I know, like, I'm very aware. I'm not stupid. I'm very aware that if I covered what ifs and if I did what ifs and fan manga, I'd be at 1 million already. I would be way bigger than I am. It's just not something I want to do. I just don't. It's not fun for me. I don't enjoy it. I have done a little bit of fan manga, a little bit of what ifs. I can never keep up with it. It's just not something that I particularly like covering. It's just not something I like doing. It's just, I don't know, man. I can't really explain it. It's just not my thing.
Oh yeah,
I want to do what I like.
I totally understand it and respect that. So you mentioned your website a little bit earlier. I don't know if I'm wrong, but I think because I had checked out the website when you had mentioned it back in the day. And were you covering music on there as well?
No, and I wasn't. It depends on when we're talking about, but I used to have a website with multiple writers and content creators on it, but when Geekdom 101 kind of got big, I just kind of dropped it because it was just, I didn't have enough time for it. There was too much. You know, in 2017, I had YouTube and I had World of Geekdom and Geekdom, and then I had the Twitch channel. It's just a lot. Like, and so I never found the time to just make content for the website. I just never got around to it. And I just realized like, okay, this is done. I was not covering music. I think the person you're thinking of that was covering music was my friend Roberto. Robert Silva is who was covering music at the time. That's who I think you're thinking of, because I had different writers on there. But
yeah, I checked on the website and I saw like so many different things. I looked at it and I'm like, oh wow, this is amazing. Like to see, you know, different perspectives on different things on the website. I was like, this is dope. So
right, no, it was, but it was also like I was also kind of like hating it for a while there, because I really was genuinely. I hated my own website because it just didn't look. It didn't look the way I wanted it to look. I originally wanted a website. The original goal was to make a website like what Channel Awesome was, with like a lot of different creators. But what I realized is, and this is something I realized way back, which led to me making my own YouTube, you cannot rely on other people like you can yourself. And so you would have people who would promise to produce content and they wouldn't produce it for whatever reason, or they would just not produce it to the level that I think they should have. And it got to the point where I just said, I work better alone, bro. Like I can do collabs, but I work, when it comes to like, I have to be in control of my own business, bro. I have to be like, it's just, I have to. I'm never going to delegate that to someone else. It's just, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody offered recently to upload their video onto my channel. There's no way I'm doing that, because the minute that somebody clicks that video and does not hear my voice, they're going to click off of it because they're there for my voice.
They're going to be pissed. Yeah.
And confused. And they're going to be confused.
Right. Because people come to you for you. And I think that's, you built that brand. So they don't want to go anywhere else. So another thing I want to talk about is the speakdoms. And I want to know, was it difficult for you to be as transparent as you are on there? Because those videos honestly have helped me out a lot, because the top of 2020 before the pandemic hit, my mom passed away. And
I can relate.
Yeah, and you know, it's difficult, you know, and then talking about it kind of helped get me through. You know, before I had another YouTube channel that I deleted for some drama reasons or whatever, but talking about it and letting it out actually helped me out a lot. So was it difficult for you to be like that transparent and put your feelings out like there in the raw way that you do on your speakdoms?
No, not really, because I'm not afraid of who I am. That's one thing that I am. That's another thing I'm very proud of, is that I'm the opposite of fake when it comes to the internet. On the internet, almost everybody's fake. I'm not fake. So I don't mind getting on there and talking about my parents passing, or my mistakes that I made when I was younger, or things I've done incorrectly. I don't mind talking about that, because I'm smart enough and experienced enough to know that every person on this planet has done something fucked up in their life, whether it be something big or something small. And I'm just not afraid. And like, it makes me laugh genuinely when somebody tries to point out something I've said and use it against me, when I'm like, yeah, I said that. So what? What's like, for example, there was an audio clip going around of me saying, it was years ago, like I said something to the effect of like, if Dragon Ball ever ends, I'm going to make a Star Wars channel, you know, and people took that as saying like, I don't care about Dragon Ball fans, because they twist my words, when that's not what I said. I said, if my Dragon Ball channel fails, I have other types of content I can produce. That's called being a businessman. But when you're one of these fucking anime losers who's never fucking left the fucking house, you're not going to understand the real world. So those speakdoms were made for people who are not only open-minded, who are also understanding of who they are. Like I remember I did one a couple of years ago where this guy in the comment section wrote some shit about me having a big ego or whatever. And I was like, how do you know I have a big ego if you've never had a conversation? Like, how do you know that? Like, how do you know? You don't know shit about me. And I would always checkmate them, because I would say, a creator only tells you what he wants you to know. The only thing you know about Kwame is what he allows you to know. The only thing you know about R.E.A.L or Markiplier or PewDiePie is shit that they tell you. You're not friends with them in real life. You're not in their day-to-day. You don't know these people. A lot of these relationships online are parasocial relationships where you don't know the other person. That's why I try not to judge people, because you genuinely do not know. Like, you don't know nobody, unless you know me, bro, you don't know me. But people on the internet think they watch 2 videos, they all of a sudden have your whole life story. The difference between me and other people is that I was never afraid to share those things, because I feel like they do help people out. And I haven't done one in a while, but I feel like they do help people out, because if I wasn't that transparent, it might come off as being fake. And I'm not fake. I mean, that's one thing that I'm not, is fake. I've made mistakes. I've admitted to my mistakes before. I will continue to do it. The only thing that I'm not going to reveal online about myself is anything involving another person that might be personal. Like, I'm not going to give away conversations I've had with people in my real life that they don't want me to give away, things like that. There is a boundary that has to
Oh yeah,
exist
of course,
between
of course,
creators.
of course.
Yeah.
But
Like people, like I don't talk about who I date. I don't talk about who I fucked. People always make assumptions. Hell, I remember a couple of years ago, this one guy made a video saying I fucked like 6 YouTubers. I wish that never happened. That never happened, bro. Somebody made a video saying that I fucked Super Mega Freeze. I'm like, that never happened, bro. But if I did, I wouldn't hide it. You know what I mean? Like, it was just funny to me.
That's
But
salacious shit. People want to hear it, and you know, it's drama and get people interested or whatever. It's like, if he did or if he didn't, why the fuck does it matter, bro? Like,
why do you care? But that stuff I don't talk about because it involves another person. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's why I don't talk about it. You know, I mean, I'll talk about a situation, but I won't give away names and stuff like that because I have to protect people who have real lives. You know what I mean? Other than that, I'm an open book when it comes to almost everything.
So you on those videos, you've talked about your mental health journey and everything like that. How has that process been for you, and what inspired you? Because I don't know if you grew up like me, but I'm, you know, the Black community and the Hispanic community have a lot of similarities, you know, because I feel like mental health is not looked at as a good thing. And, you know, you go to church, you know, fucking pray about it or whatever. So to start getting therapy, how was that process for you?
I mean, going to church and praying about it is not a bad idea, but a
Not at
lot of
all.
times you need more than that. You need more than that sometimes. I mean, it's gone well for me. It started, I mean, I was always into psychology and things like that, but it really got heated right around when the pandemic began because I had been to a couple of counselors, but what happened was I went through a breakup right when the pandemic started. I went through a breakup that was terrible, and I thought it was my fault. It really wasn't, but I thought it was for a long time. I felt very guilty. And then I got into a fight with a friend of mine. Actually, I'll tell you who it was. It was Draven from KLB. And Draven himself told me, he said, you need to go to therapy, because he's also a therapist. He's like, you need to go to therapy, dude. Because I was behaving very like, the pandemic made me lose my mind. And I'm not the only one, but I mean, I lost my mind because you got to understand something. I had tickets for WrestleMania 36 in Tampa. I had bought 4 tickets and I was going to have 2 of my friends come visit me and my girl. And I had this whole cool weekend planned. Once the pandemic hit, the whole thing was canceled and I was alone here. And that started to make me go, I mean, I was losing my mind, bro. And so I started going to therapy and I started to dig into my past. And then I started to figure out that I do have a lot of trauma from when I was a kid based on my parents and the way that I was treated. So I do believe that every single person needs to go to therapy because we all have something from our past that is affecting the way we behave now. So after I went to therapy, I learned so many things about myself. I learned why I do things, why I have a short fuse, why I have a temper. I learned like things. I learned techniques on how to control myself. Cognitive behavioral therapy was a big one. Mindfulness training. Huh?
I said CBT. Yeah.
Right. CBT. Exactly. And like, I learned all these things that I didn't even know about, and they have drastically helped me. Like I'm a much better person now. And everybody who knows me knows that. Like anybody who actually knows me, not nerds on the internet, people who actually know me, they've all said how much better I am. You know what I mean? So the truth is, you have to listen to people who you trust and respect as opposed to listening to the internet, because the internet will make up whatever they want to about you, even if it's not true. Whereas people who actually know you, who have seen you rise, fall, they can actually give you real feedback. So I think everyone, and it's expensive, I know, at some point, it's worth going to therapy, especially if you have depression and things like that. I don't have clinical depression, but a lot of my friends do. And I feel like, honestly, bro, a lot of YouTubers have issues. I've learned that. Everybody who we named earlier, among others, are either going to therapy or need to go to therapy, Quaman included. Like a lot of people have issues. And now that I'm an older guy, I've been able to see it better and treat it better. So yes, I very much believe in that, which is why I'm going to be doing speakdoms again at some point with new information, better information, and more about like my journey. That's down the road though. I don't really feel like doing that right now.
I look forward, I
I'm
look
just
forward
not in
to
that
those
mood.
because that partially inspired me to start writing my book now, which is an autobiography and delving into my past and the things that I've been through. And people say, because usually like people say, oh, you went through that shit as a kid, why don't the fuck you get over it? But like people don't realize that that shit you went through as a kid shapes who you are as a person now. So
anybody who told you that doesn't know what they're talking about, bro. They don't
right,
understand.
right.
And the thing that's fucked up is sometimes we go through this before we even know how to speak. Like if you study attachment trauma or attachment theory, your attachment style is triggered in the first 3 years that you are alive, from age 0 to 3. Most of us don't remember that, but there's a subconscious part of our brain that does. So if you're somebody who has a lot of anxiety, you may have, and I'm not saying you do because I'm not a doctor, but it's worth looking into. You may have what's called anxious attachment. If you are constantly afraid of like somebody cheating on you or a breakup, there's something inside you that is triggering that. And same thing with, people who are very promiscuous or people that do a lot of drugs and alcohol. Like there's always something there's a reason as to why they do that. And a lot of it is to escape the reality of their own depression. It's sad, but I do feel like it has definitely helped me out. And I will never say anything bad about therapy. You just got to find the right therapist.
True. So another question I had is, how has it been cultivating relationships with people like that you probably met through this into making them into real relationships? Like a lot of people that I've seen that you cultivate relationships with, like Kwame, and like it seems like you guys have a real friendship outside of YouTube. It's not just the collaboration thing. And then like, or even someone like, I don't know. I was gonna ask about that later. Another question about Draven, but like how has that been? Is that crazy to you, or to cultivate a real relationship from this?
It's difficult because you really don't know who's real and who's not sometimes. And really it takes time. It takes consistency and time. And if someone's there for you consistently, that's, Kwame himself did a video once. And in the video, he talked about how I saved his life, which I didn't even, when that whole thing was going down, Kwame was very suicidal. And I kind of talked to him and talked him off the ledge. And he made a whole ass video years ago about how I saved his life. Yeah, and what's funny about?
I saw that video and I was just like, damn, like to share that.
Well, I mean, I didn't even realize it was that serious. But what's interesting about that, here's the internet for you in a nutshell. Kwame makes this video talking about how much he loves me and I saved his life. And there is a comment from someone who wrote, I don't care if he saved your life, he's still an asshole. So that makes me laugh because it's like, dog, a man who actually knows the real me, who has been in my home, who has ate with me. He slept in my house. Somebody who spent real time with me is telling you how much of a good person I am. And you are so blinded by your pussy, small dick fucking envy that you can't even take him at his fucking word. So who am I to believe? Some dude who I've never talked to in my whole life, or Kwame? And it just makes me laugh because that's the internet, bro. They'll say whatever. It's just a bunch of, and that the problem is that the internet is making people even more sick. Like mental illness, a lot of it is from the internet. If you do your homework on it, and I've done a lot of research on this, there's an author named Jonathan Haidt who talks about what the internet has done to kids, and kids that are being raised on the internet now. The suicide rate is up, the depression rate is up, the sexual rate is down. Like there's a lot of problems right now. And I'm not going to talk about all that here, but I'm just saying like,
oh yeah, that's a whole other conversation, especially with this meta thing coming in and people like really starting to get to the separation of people. Like, we're really close to that, where a lot of issues are going to start showing themselves because people aren't able to connect with other people. We're meant to connect with people. And if we're not able to, then
and also to add to what you're saying, platforms like Twitter offer no context. And there's a lot of Twitter. Is the worst. That's the worst social media platform there is. There's a lot of people jumping on others. There's a lot of a clout chasing, a lot of virtue signaling. You see it more on Twitter than you do in other places. But to answer your question, I've actually dated. So I have dated 2 women that I met from the internet, from Geekdom 101. And I think I'm not going to do that anymore. I think based on how things turned out, again, people are mentally ill and you don't always see that right away. And let's just say that crashed and burned. And so it's difficult. So if I'm being real with you, yes, there are a lot of people who I have gotten close to, but there's others who I haven't, or others who I thought I was close to, and I guess I'm not. So it's difficult to really, it's difficult to really hammer down one thing. You know what I mean? It's a case by case situation, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh, it totally makes sense, because I see that you're not friends with everyone, and I don't think even in a work environment like YouTube is becoming, you're not going to be friends with everybody. The best you could hope for is that you all be cordial and not cuss each other out all the time. But I think a lot of times,
not to mention, there's also different kinds of friendships too. Like there's working friendships, there's like closer friendships. Like I have friends on YouTube that I would do collaborations with and we work together, but I would never tell them about personal life. Then I have other friends who I am okay with talking. It just depends. Like everyone's different, it takes time, bro. It really does take time.
Okay, the last topic before we get out of here is I want to talk about hip hop a little bit. So I heard you say before you were a fan of like the underground and stuff like that. So I want you to talk about that a little bit. Like who did you get into probably early 2000s, late 90s that people probably don't know about, or that grew on you, or that stuck with you?
Well, when I got the internet at home, I started writing reviews for a website called Epinions, which has become shopping.com. And that was kind of the first community I was a part of. And there were a lot of hip hop reviewers there. And I learned about a lot of acts that I would have never known about. So again, this is one of the pros of the internet. Internet has pros and cons. Right. One of the pros is that you can discover artists and talented people that would never be on MTV. So right. When I started getting into hip hop, like in the late 90s, it was like DMX and Eminem were like the kings during that era, like 98, 99, 2000. And actually my first AMV I ever made was in 9th grade video productions class. And it was to fucking DMX, bro. And I got it on a VHS tape.
R.E.P. One of the goats, man. One of the goats. Yeah.
Bro, It's Dark and Hell is Hot is like a legitimate fucking masterpiece, bro. That's a classic. Every song.
I think his 3-album run was just crazy. Flesh on My Flesh was crazy. Like those albums were fucking amazing. And then the Damien series was crazy. Like
the first, but there's something about that first album that just was perfect. Like, you know what I mean? Start to finish. But I started getting into, so through Eminem, I started getting into other people like, you trend, because there's different levels of underground. You get into like people like Mos Def, Kweli, and Cannabis. Then you start going a little bit deeper and you get into guys like Idea, who rest in peace, Idea, LP, Cannibal Ox, like all these like Midwestern kind of acts. Then you start getting into like the Queens guys like Cormega and AZ, and then you go lower and lower and lower. Then you start reaching shit that's like only available like on the internet. They have CDs out. I never got that deep into it, but there were a lot of hip hop artists that I found through that website. So those are kind of the guys that I love. Like I loved, like there was a rapper by the name of Last Emperor that I used to love. There was a dude, what the fuck's his name, bro? Oh my God, he's Peruvian. Time waits for no man. What's his freaking name, bro? He's a really good rapper. He actually blew up after I discovered him.
You would have to,
bro. He's Oh my God, well, anyways, doesn't matter. I used to love Big L and Big Pun,
Oh
like
yeah,
those guys that were kind of quasi mainstream, quasi underground. But I became a straight up backpacker for a while. I used to hate commercial rap, and then as I got older, I came to like appreciate other aspects of it. But if I'm being honest with you, bro, anything after 2012 is nothing like, or maybe 2014, 2012, 2012, like. I stopped listening to new stuff after 2012. Like I still have my old shit. I have tons of albums that I love that I will always love and treasure. But anything
right.
that came out after 2012, like I stopped following hip hop mostly. Like I mean, I still keep up with some people, but like, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of where I guess I grew out of it. I don't know. I don't know if there's a. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, I think for me, like, because I love hip hop so much, like I kind of tuned out because of all the. I kind of felt like it wasn't about skill anymore. And for me,
no,
like
it's not.
I'm like a big like, cause I rap myself, so like, dude, like it's some kind of like a dude like who am I thinking of? Mad Villainy, what's his name?
Yeah, MF Doom.
MF
Rest
Doom.
in peace, MF
Like
Doom.
people don't realize like how intricate his rhyme schemes were. Like,
He would rhyme the entire bar sometimes, bro.
bro, or he would bring something and then bring it back around at the end of it. It's just like, how did you do that?
Bro, you know it's funny because that's how Eminem used to be too. Like if you sit down and you analyze stuff like my favorite song to analyze like that is probably Lose Yourself, because he rhymes, the rhyme scheme takes up literally the entire second verse, bro. Like and like I mean you know what I'm talking
Right,
about. Like yeah,
right.
and MF Doom would sometimes ramble about bullshit, but he would always make it fit with like, you know, like I remember King Ghidorah, one of his alter
Right.
egos. Like I remember Food. I used to love that shit. Yeah, Mad Villainy. Yeah, I was into all that stuff at one time, bro. I just haven't. I love the Roots. I was a huge
Oh
fucking
yeah, me
Roots fan,
too. Me
bro.
too.
I think the last album that I heard that was a bona fide masterpiece, in my opinion, was How I Got Over. That whole album, start to finish, every song, and it's a concept album too, because the first half of that album is all about, it's like depressing, and then when you get to the to How I Got Over, it becomes like this song about victory. Like it's like the album is like dark, and it gets brighter and brighter and brighter the more you listen to it. And I used to love shit like that. Same thing with another album I love like that was Reasonable Doubt by Jay-Z. Like
Oh
that's like a
yeah.
movie. Like Reasonable Doubt's like a fucking movie, bro.
Oh
Like start
yeah.
to finish, it feels like a movie.
Okay,
And then
okay.
like
Hip hop question:
yeah,
Reasonable Doubt or Illmatic? If you had to pick.
bro. Okay, like it's weird because okay, here's what's weird about that one. Illmatic is more flawless than Reasonable Doubt, because Reasonable Doubt has a couple songs that aren't that good.
Right, right.
But I think I personally, dude, it's tough because like Can't Knock the Hustle. So out of all those records, right? I think my opinion, Can't Knock the Hustle and The World Is Yours are like the two best songs from each album. And I can't pick, bro. Okay, I'm gonna probably edge it with Illmatic only because Nas was my favorite rapper for a long time. He at least was more consistent. Jay-Z had a couple of bad albums there, bro. Like
Mm-hmm.
he really did. He had a
One of
few
the S. Dot Carter
from
series was terrible.
yeah, volume 1 had a couple good songs, volume 2 had a couple good songs, volume 3, and then when you get to like Blueprint was like the real like rise of Kanye and Just Blaze. So
Right.
it's a better record. And then Blueprint 2 had so much filler, bro. Like holy shit, that album's got
Why was
filler.
it? I still think about like, why was it 2 discs, bro? Like I don't understand. It didn't stand up to any other 2 disc project to that point. Like All Eyes on Me
Never.
was great. You know, both discs had great songs on them, but it was just like, bro,
Wu-Tang Forever.
facts. I'm actually watching the Wu-Tang show right now, and it's giving me a lot of insight. I don't know if you watched it, but it's really good.
What show? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Wu-Tang, an American Saga. It's on Hulu.
You're cutting out right now. I don't know if your internet. I think your internet's bad. Hello?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but I can't see you. Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm trying to see if well, I could do.
I can hear you, but I can't. Okay, now I can see you. I don't know what happened, bro. Maybe there was a hiccup. Okay, you were saying there's a Wu-Tang show. Where is it?
It's on Hulu. It's called Wu-Tang and American Saga. It is so dope. Like,
Really?
I'm a big Wu-Tang fan. Although, like, casting wise, the guy that chose to play RZA, like, his voice is RZA. Everything, he just doesn't look like him to me. But everything else,
it's not a documentary.
No, it's not a documentary. It's a show based on their lives. So, and they have,
you know, it's funny. You can always tell the real ones if you ask them who your favorite member of Wu-Tang is, because if they say like Method Man, it's like, okay, you're a commercial rap fan. But if they say Jizza, then they're a real fucking fan, because the best motherfuckers in Wu-Tang were Jizza, Master Killer, and Inspector Deck. And I don't care what anybody says, bro. Liquid Swords is like the best lyrical album of the entire Wu-Tang fucking. Like,
oh yeah,
the
whole
best
discography.
So, bro, what was that fucking rhyme he had on Beneath the Surface? What was the rhyme? On a man-made lake. On a man-made lake.
I just listened to this shit the other day.
Where unskilled skaters cut figure eights twice, bro. He was saying some shit that's like out there, bro. War of the masses, the outcome disastrous. Like, he's incredible, dude. And I have nothing against Method Man, but Method Man was like the commercial member. He was like doing, you know, the sitcoms and the comedies. Like, he's more like the Hollywood Wu-Tang, whereas Jizza and Master Killer were like the lyrical motherfuckers. Like, I do like that they have a balance of different guys.
Right. There's only one member that I think sucks. Looking back, is You God, but everybody else is had their own lane to me. But I never could get into his style. Like, I don't.
Do you like Capadonna?
Capadonna's dope to me.
No, because a lot of people think he's the weakest one. That's why
You God is the weakest. If I were to rank them, like, You God be at the bottom. Even ODB, like, stylistically, he was.
ODB was a good character, I thought.
Yeah, but like lyrically, he'd be down towards the bottom to me too. Rest in peace to him as well. But like, yeah, I'm a big Wu-Tang fan. So the show is dope to see how, like, it's saying a lot of things that I didn't know happened in their life, you know. Like, even RZA, I didn't know that he had a deal before they were signed. So
he had an album that he put out. There was an album that came out before Enter the Wu-Tang that he did, but I never listened to it. Like, I think I actually downloaded it way back in the day, but I never got to listen to it. It's like the same thing with like Common's first album.
Oh yeah.
His first album. I never heard it, but I did hear the second one, the one that had I Used to Love Her. I remember I used to have this shit all memorized, bro, but it's been years. I've got a whole bunch of CDs back there of hip hop records, like for me, it's like from 92 to like, I'd say like 2000, like I said, 2012, really. I mean, and that's not saying that I don't like the 80s, because I love Rakim. Like, Rakim, I think Rakim, bro, my opinion, Rakim inspired more rappers than anybody.
Yeah.
He was the first lyricist. Like, he was on there. That charisma he had, bro. Like, there's so much charisma with that guy, bro.
Rakim is in my top 5 all time.
Yeah, and he's only put out a few records, but I mean, bro, like, you know, like, how many people bit his flow? Eminem bit his fucking flow.
Oh yeah.
Nas bit his flow. Like, that dude was just, yeah, man. I know, dude, you're taking me back, because it's been a while since I've talked about this kind of stuff, bro. I'm
a huge hip hop head. Like, and even though I grew up in the West Coast, like, I grew up in the West Coast, and, you know, people were like Cube and Snoop and everything. But then when I got cable and I started seeing other people, and then I got the internet, and I'm like, oh wow, there's this whole world of people that I didn't know. And I started, I need to know everything. Okay, I need to download all of these albums. And I got my parents upset because I got viruses trying to download so many hip hop albums.
LimeWire.
Oh yeah.
Were you using LimeWire?
Oh yeah, I use LimeWire. I use Napster.
The worst one ever, bro. Have you ever heard of one called BearShare?
Yes, BearShare was so fucking bad, bro.
terrible. The best one that I ever used was one called Soul Seek. I don't think it's around anymore. That one, I was able to download albums like in order, one through whatever, like with the box art and everything. I downloaded all of AZ's albums. I downloaded all of Cormega's discography. Nowadays, you can torrent the shit if you really want it, or you can just, I mean, I don't think, the thing is that I don't think a lot of these acts ever release like all their albums in one big pack. Like, you know, like the Beatles did that, Pink Floyd. Right. I feel like we need that. We need that with like Wu-Tang. We need that with, and I've been buying vinyl too. I've got 36 Chambers on vinyl out there too. So, I mean, I love that album, bro. And I've even got, I don't know if you have this, you probably do. I have the bloody version of Protect Your Neck that has the profanity in it, bro, which wasn't on the album. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't have that, bro. I need it.
Look it up. Go to YouTube. Go to YouTube and type in Protect Your Neck bloody version. That's the one that has the cursing on it. Because why did they censor? Same thing with DMX Slippin'. It's censored on the uncensored album. I don't understand that.
I don't understand it either. I think it was some kind of marketing shit. I don't get it, but
I don't get it either, bro.
Buying the album, because I bought that DMX album and then listening to it, and then the rest of the album is fucking uncensored, bro. So like, and you get to that, I'm slipping. But I don't know, I was listening to the radio.
Dude, sometimes you think like maybe you bought the wrong version or something. Like, did I get the wrong version? Like, and that happens. Yeah, that fucks with you a little bit. Yeah, same thing with like there are certain lines that were cut out of Marshall Mathers LP. Like he had a line in I'm Back, Eminem did, where he said, take 7 kids from Columbine, stand them all in line, add an AK-47, a revolver, and 9. That was edited from the album because they didn't want him to talk about Columbine. Like they actually, when you hear it, it's like silent. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I know. I actually heard that version too. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, where'd you find that version? Because I've been looking for that. I know it exists, but I don't have it. Where do I go to find that?
I torrented.
Because I know it leaked.
I ain't gonna lie, I torrented that one.
That's fine. That's fine. No, I mean, I don't blame you for torrenting it because there's stuff you just can't find in the store.
Yeah. I do it, but you know, some people are discouraged it. But yeah, if I can't find something, I'm definitely. I know it's out there somewhere, so I found it that way.
Yeah, well, when you get a chance, look up that Wu-Tang bloody version because that's good stuff. Yeah, I used to love Raucous Records, bro. I used to love Pharoah Monch, Exhibit. Yeah, and you talk about the West Coast. Like I love Cube, America's Most Wanted, and his first 3 albums I thought were freaking amazing. He was an angry man, bro. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah. And smart though, smart as hell, bro. He was smart as hell back then too.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think his later albums were kind of boring, but his early ones I think were good. And then who else is from the West? I mean, obviously I think Snoop has become kind of more of a cartoon character. Like I don't really, you know what I mean? He's become a gimmick, and that's fine because everybody loves Snoop. But Doggy Style is a classic. I mean, Dre's beats back then were just complete fire. But I was more into, me personally, I've always been more into the East Coast stuff only because like I love like lyricism. But as I got older, I started to expand my horizons, right? And I really got into Houston hip hop too, like Scarface, you know, Ghetto Boys. I actually really like that stuff, bro. The chopped and screwed stuff. Like it took me a while, but I got into that stuff too. I was never big on like guys like Lil Wayne, bro. Like I have nothing against Lil Wayne, but it took him like 4 albums to actually become a competent rapper because his first 3 albums are like trash. Yeah. And like
it took him going to that realization. I think it was when he stopped writing. So like the Carter 1, 2, 3 were great. But like before that, it was just like, I don't like this ain't it, bro. But there was a point there where I think that he was probably one of the top lyricists in the game, like for like a 2-year stretch. But
yeah, I think with him, bro, his mixtapes were better than his albums. Like, and that's like a universal thing. Like No Ceilings and like Dedication.
Dedication. Yeah.
2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
too.
those were better than his actual albums. Like, and
Way
with
better.
Drake, like Drake's best work, in my opinion, only my opinion, is So Far Gone, the mixtape. That's actually my favorite mixtape of all time. I love every song on it. His albums are not terrible. I mean, he kind of sucks now. I don't like him now, but for a
Oh
while
yeah.
there, like but his mixtapes were always better. But strangely enough, I used to listen to 50 Cent mixtapes and they weren't as good. The thing that helped 50, I think, is he's the one thing about 50 that nobody can take away from him. He's not the best lyricist. There's two things he has that other people don't have. One is charisma, and two, he can write hooks.
Oh
His
yeah.
hooks, bro. I, for a long time, was like jealous as to how many hooks that man can write that were so catchy. Because anybody can write a verse, but to write a hook that people listen to over, if I can't do it, homie, it can't
Can't
be
be
done.
done. Yeah, facts.
Like,
Many
right,
men,
this dude,
many man.
man, wish that like that dude was a monster when it comes to hooks, bro. It's funny because when I went through my backpacker phase, I hated Get Rich or Die Trying. But when I kind of started leaving that, I listened to it again. I was like, man, the beats, because that album has really good beats, bro. Really, really good beats.
Oh yeah.
Like great beats. Production can help a lot, bro.
It was
Who do you think is who's your favorite producer? Like beat maker?
all time.
Yeah, just curious. There's a lot of good ones. Please don't say Kanye.
No, definitely not.
Kanye's talented though, but yeah.
It will either have to be Dre or Premier.
That's
Dre
that you hit it. You hit it, bro. You said no, you said Premier. You said Premier, bro. Bro, you said Premier. I want to kiss you right now, bro. I have been on Premier's dick since like most of my life. I've been on that man's dick, bro. I don't think I've ever heard. There might be maybe one or two beats that he did that I don't like. Every beat that he puts out, and I know they all sound the same, but they don't sound the same. Like that man is genius beyond like, because that's like he does the fucking hip hop records, like the scratches, like that.
Legendary.
He's incredible. And I like Havoc a lot too. Mobb Deep's Havoc. I like him. And Dre, the thing about Dre, bro, the reason why I don't put him in my top is because for 2001, he used ghost producers. Like, what's that dude's name, bro? From Still Dre, bro. What's the white guy, bro?
Oh, Scott Storch.
Storch. Yeah, Storch. Yeah. He used a lot of ghost producers. And like when you use ghost producers, like to me, you're a bit lower. But Havoc is great. What's it, bro? Large Professor. I like him a lot. Yeah, and Pete Rock. And what's the name of the dude that died, bro? See, this is all coming back to me now. It's been years. He died, but he was from Slum Village, bro. What's his fucking name?
Oh, fucking
everybody loved this guy. Who?
You talking about Dilla, right?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah,
yes. Yeah. It's been years, bro. I haven't talked about this in years, bro, because like
I'm a hip-hop head. Crazy story. You had mentioned Havoc. The first time I ever did a show, I opened up for Mobb Deep. Before
are you serious?
Yeah. My group called Hung Jury, which is another long story. We could talk about it afterwards, but we opened up for Mobb Deep, and it was like the year before Prodigy passed.
Bro, wow. So you got to meet these motherfuckers right before. I was going to ask you about that. I was asking when it was.
Yeah, like the year before. It was like 2011, I think, or 2012.
Bro, fucking Hell on Earth and the Infamous are like masterpieces, bro. Like I love that song. I love all the songs on every song's good, but I really love oh god, now I'm forgetting the name of the song, bro. The song how the fuck what the fuck's the name of that song, bro? It's the one after Up North Trip. Hold on, I'm gonna find it, bro. I'm losing my mind right now because I have all these records, bro, but I haven't heard them in a long time. So like I don't remember, like, you know.
Oh, you talking about legendary producers as well as somebody you can't can't count out, especially if you count current day as Alchemist, because Alchemist has been doing his thing for a long time now, and even now, the people he's producing for, like if you're not into hip hop now, people that I started getting into back into it because of him, because he started working with some people that are just amazing. Like,
yeah, I've always liked him. He works for a lot of the New York guys. I've always liked him. Give Up the Goods. Give Up the Goods is the song I was thinking of. I just looked it up, bro. Give Up the Goods. I love that shit, bro. But yeah, no, Alchemist is great. To me, I also like No ID. I like him a lot too. You know what's funny about Kanye is that personally, like, I like the older shit more. Like, I like College Dropout. Like, before he fucking lost his mind, like, he was actually pretty likable in the first album, bro. I thought he was a kind of a likable person.
The first, like, a dickhead. The first 2 or 3 albums were great, but after his mom passed, 808 and Heartbreak, I don't like. And then there's a couple songs off of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy that I like, but it didn't flow. Those first 3 albums were damn near flawless. But
I know he was great, bro. And I remember I downloaded the College Dropout. I don't know if you remember this, because this was like 2004. I downloaded an early unreleased version, which is on YouTube now, by the way. And the songs were like unfinished. So like Jesus Walks didn't have all of the chorus back. It had a little bit of it, but it wasn't like, you know, mastered. And then 2 Words didn't have like the orchestral part had not been produced yet, so it's like a raw unfinished. But the best thing ever, bro, okay, when you get a chance, look this up, because it's funny as fuck. Do you remember that song? I think it's with Eminem, Dre, and 50 Cent. It's called like Pop Bottles or something like that. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about? Hold on, let me look it up. It's been years, bro. Hold on. 50 Cent, Eminem, Dr. Dre. Crack a Bottle.
Yeah.
All right, so if you go online, See,
I remember the song said Crack a Bottle. Yeah.
Let Lotto, yeah. If you go online, bro, I don't know if it's still on YouTube, but there is a version of that song that leaked where Eminem is rapping Dre's part in Dre's voice, because Eminem ghost wrote that for Dre. So you hear him go, Dre's from Kelly. He's doing like the deep Dre voice, and then Dre is supposed to listen to it and then dub over it. And like when that leaked, bro, I knew Dre didn't write his own lyrics, but like I didn't know that Eminem and other rappers actually pre-recorded his verse and he would memorize the way they would do. Like, that's wild. That's why like Dre is like a genius businessman.
Oh yeah.
And he does have, but like as a producer, as a rapper, he loses points with me because of the fact that
because Jay-Z wrote all of Still Dre. He
wrote the whole song.
I
knew, bro, I knew it was Jay-Z when he had that line that goes, I don't want to be the king, but the ace is back. Like, that's Jay-Z 101, bro. But my favorite is the fact that Getting Jiggy With It was written by Nas.
Oh, yeah.
Smith. So have you ever listened to Big Willie Style, the album?
Yeah.
So the rhymes on that album are complete trash, except for the songs that Nas wrote, Getting Jiggy With It and Miami. Because if you listen to fucking Getting Jiggy With It, right? He mentions DKNY. And I used to always wonder, why would Will Smith talk about DKNY if he's a Philly guy? And then like when you read the liner notes and you see N Jones, and I'm like, he wrote the lyrics, bro. That's always interesting to me, bro, when you have people ghostwriting, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I know Rick Ross does that for people. And, Eminem probably did it for a lot of people. Because the thing is, it's about collaboration.
Oh, yeah.
Because I used to have friends of mine that were rappers, like locally. And I used to help them, like, if they were having trouble coming up with like a line or something, like I would come up with the line and then, he'd make it fit.
Let me find out that Geekdom could rap.
Okay, I can't rap, but I can write. I'm actually I used to be a pretty good writer. I actually got a little bit of popularity in high school because There was a song. So I used to weigh 400 pounds and now I'm at 205. So in high school, I used to do Weird Al level song parodies for existing songs. And the biggest one I did was, it was a song called I Need a Hot Girl. Remember that song by the Hot Boys?
I need a hot girl.
What you want, boy? I want a hot girl. So I wrote a song called I Need a Hot Dog. And it got popular, bro. I swear to you, bro, I ain't making any of this up. I need a hot dog. What you want, boy? And I wrote all the lyrics and everything, but I can't rap, but I'm pretty good at like writing parodies, bro. Like not like, you know, like for fun, not like professionally.
Right.
You know, for fun, just for fun. But because I can't, the issue with rapping is that my voice is, I think, better for like radio and video and podcasts. And I'm not really good with breath control. I'm just not good with it. I can breathe, but like when it comes to rapping, there's certain techniques. Maybe I could learn to do it, but it's just not something. Everybody rapped when they were in high school, bro. Everybody tried to be a rapper in high school, bro. Like, you know. Yeah. Anyways, I'm rambling, bro. When you talk, you're bringing this conversation's brought back like a lot of memories, like flooding back into my brain. You know what I mean? Like it's just.
Yeah, we could talk some more about this off the show, but I really appreciate you coming on here, because I am a nobody YouTuber who just, you know, I reach out to people and sometimes people answer, sometimes people don't. But like my podcast that I have up, people like, how did you get them? Literally, I tell people, don't be afraid to ask, because you never know who's gonna respond, who's gonna, like, I got a lady from 60 Days In. She was on TV. People was like, oh, how did you get her? I literally inboxed her and asked her, does she want to be on the show?
Right. No, and that's the thing, man. If you're polite and, you know, you respect their time, like I appreciate you doing this with me now, like I said, because it's late over here, but I'm gonna stay up all night anyways, because I wasn't sure what my schedule was going to be next week. I don't know what I'm doing next week. So I figure let's just get this done, you know, then that way you have your recording and, you know, it's just.
Hopefully I can,
like I told you, bro.
Have you on
you. Right, of course. And I told you earlier, man, I am not a 9-to-5 dude. I like to get my stuff done. Like I like to get like my work. And this is not really work, but you know what I mean? Like when it comes to YouTube, like I like to just get it done and then just upload it and then go to sleep. I don't know. And that's just a better life for me. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you one more thing before we go. When I used to work in the cable industry, when I used to work as a field engineer, I used to install wireless routers and internet in people's homes. And I talked to a lot of rich dudes. Like I went to a lot of like rich people houses, bro, like wealthy old men, right? They were either business owners or they weren't like, they're not, you know, okay, you know how there's like famous rich people, but then there's like rich people who aren't famous at all. Like you don't know, you can't tell they're rich, but you know they are. You know,
right. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the people that are interesting to me because they don't have to deal with the bullshit of the public, but they still have millions. And I would always ask them questions. And these are old ass white men with gray hair. And I would always ask them like, you know, questions about like their business. And one thing I noticed about all of them is that they always woke up super early and they were always up at like 5, 6 in the morning every day. Like Vince McMahon, he used to be like that. And I always wondered like why. And it's like, if you love what you do, like if you love your career, you're going to wake up every day happy. The people who say shit like, well, if I was rich, I'd sleep all day. Okay, maybe, but if you love what you do, you're going to wake up every morning at 5. You're going to be excited for the day. And I'm blessed to be able to do that on YouTube. And those old men, man, I always thought it was weird. Like, why are they always up so early? And it makes sense. I mean, and plus, you know, some of these guys are probably stock market guys. So they had to like read.
Oh, they have to be up. Yeah, because when that bell hit, you better be ready.
Right. No, hey, man, we could do a whole thing on that. Did you ever see the Speak Them I did where I showed one of my portfolios?
I might have, but I don't recall.
It was a couple of years ago. No, I mean, I did it to like help people out and shit. With investing and whatnot. I was just curious if you had seen that one. That was a while ago. I might do another one like that because I'm thinking about at some point doing an investment channel like later on when I get older, not now.
That's dope, bro. Well, I really,
Those,
really appreciate you coming on the show. This are probably broken up into 2 parts. So if you're not already subscribed, subscribe. Give me a follow, drop a like if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on or listening to this on Spotify or Apple Music. Just share it. I really appreciate you coming on, bro. Thank you.
no, it was a pleasure, bro. We'll do it again sometime if you want.
Most definitely. All right, you guys. Peace.